is how you free up your time in addition to having more available cash flow. And I want to get that message out to a broader audience. And so I'm finding that kind of interesting right now because I know I have a message in me that would be valuable to many people. I'm just trying to learn the technology of creating the video series and making it look something I could be proud of and get it out on YouTube and get it out on Facebook Live and all that, you know.
Can you send us the link once you have it?
Sure.
Yeah, like there's an old saying that necessity is the mother of all inventions. So I say, in counter to that code, this is my code, that reinventing yourself in the moment of necessity is an insurmountable challenge.
That's an interesting comment. I like that.
Reinventing yourself in the moment of necessity is an insurmountable challenge, which I had when I came in this country. I had to reinvent myself in the moment of necessity because I needed it. It was not easy. I had to stretch, and somehow I stretched really so hard, there was a point I thought that I will be broken. You know, sometimes you go over limit, it can be broken. But I did up to that point to just reinvent myself and came back to the game. So in life, we do that. So that's my code.
I like that. I like that a lot. Although sometimes, you know, when people are truly forced, they can achieve something that is just completely extraordinary. What's the name of the Jew that was in the prison? Frank?
The psychologist.
Yeah, Viktor Frankl.
Yeah, it's a Frank.
But I mean, it's just an amazing story about how he just controlled his mind.
Yes.
And was able to stretch possibility in an unbelievably terrible condition to make it to be a positive, that he came through it stronger rather than
the guy from South Africa, I can't remember his name.
Mandela.
Yeah, he did the same type thing. He forgave his prosecutors. He became president of the country.
Right.
Yeah, Nelson Mandela.
He was powerful.
He was one of the best, most impressive leader to me,
Yeah, right.
who has a character. He never gave up.
But I just gave those as a counterbalance
Yes.
to your, I love your quote, because your quote says to me that don't wait until you're forced.
Yeah.
Make the choice with your own timing
Of course.
before it's
Yeah.
a necessity,
So
so
that's
it isn't insurmountable.
Yeah. So let's go to the. It's easy to be an average person, right? It's very easy. Like I have another thing that it's a lot easier to live as a failure. Correct? No. It's a lot easy to be a failed person, but it's a lot difficult to live as a failure.
That's a good point.
Right? But it's a lot difficult to be successful, but it's a lot easy to live like a successful person. It's two different scenarios. But people think, oh, it's easy to be just an average. No, it seems like easy. It's not easy to live like that.
To be average?
Yeah. Average people never feels happy. They just live and they get by.
They're like on autopilot.
Yeah.
Not making choices.
Yeah, they have no choice by themselves. They are working with the clock, the way they are tuned, and they are formatted.
Minimally meeting the lowest expectations.
Yeah, that's an average too.
I remember when I was in grade 4 or 5, my teacher used to say before the exam, if you are coming well prepared, you don't have to worry. And if you are not preparing, you don't have to worry. Because you know whatever is going to come in the exam, you don't know what to do. And in the other case, whatever is going to come in the exam, you know you can do it.
Yeah.
The only person who's going to be in a problem who have done half preparation. So might be what I have learned is going to be on the exam or not.
Yeah, so it is true, like an average person is not easy. Like you said, it's easy to be average. No, it's not technically. it's way difficult to live like an average. Or if, I mean, average is because you are 50% failure when you are an average, period. You're 50% successful, but you're 50% failure too, if you see it from the different perspective. So still you are a failure to me. So if you see from that angle, so average is difficult to live. Why do you believe so few people want to stretch? What do you think? Why do you believe?
I believe most people haven't even considered what they want their life to be. You know, it comes back to life design. If you figure out what's important to you and what you want to do, then the path forward becomes very clear. If you don't have a clue what you want because you've never thought it through, then how do you make your choices? You have no basis.
Yes, exactly.
I remember what they say in the book is people spend more time planning for vacations than planning for their life. And I think that's true with most people because once you graduate, they don't think that they can change to something else. They just stay in the job or whatever.
Even how people don't read books too. They don't develop themselves at all. Like books, reading books is so much an easy way for you to develop yourself, become stronger.
Yeah, absolutely. This is one of the way, I mean, and it's the authentic way to learn something new. Unfortunately now with the technology, people lost that habit by reading. Now they have audio, they have this, which is good. I mean, I do all the time. But still, when you read or you hear something new, always gives you a little different way to live.
Or they have excuses. I'm too busy to do this.
Yeah, we'll talk on that in a few minutes. Okay.
But one of the reasons I like coming to this is because you hear other people's perspective on the same material, and that helps you understand it at a different level.
Yeah,
It's the
absolutely.
power of mastermind.
Yeah, that's why it's called mastermind. So the second thing is settling for the status quo ultimately leads to destruction. So for all it's worth, average can generally be achieved by merely showing up. So any average person has to do nothing, but he has to just show up. And it becomes an average. But he's not going to grow. He's not going to have something.
Thank God I didn't grow up where they were giving trophies for participation.
Of course, yeah,
I
I see
mean,
that.
there were winners and losers when I grew up.
Yeah.
I was the loser.
Actually, I have those participation trophies.
See, like Abraham Maslow,
When you were younger, you had them?
In high school.
like you read this quote, Abraham Maslow, that if you plan on being anything less than you are capable of being, you will probably be unhappy the rest of your life. What a good quote. So number 3 is stretching always starts from inside out. So like you cannot travel within and stand without. You cannot travel within and stand without. What do you mean? James Allen said in the book, The Man Thinketh, which is the best book I ever read, and I always recommend everybody to read. At least it's a very small book. You can read once a month.
Where's it called?
As a man thinketh.
Yeah, it's only 40 pages. But, for example, you need some motivation for your business yourself. I say just read the chapter number 5 every week. It takes 10 minutes, and you will see yourself differently. And if you do this practice for 6 weeks in a row, you will be master of that chapter. And you will feel differently. That guy wrote the best book. It was written 63 years ago, and it's still the masterpiece. So, that's his code, so which I say that you cannot travel within and stand without. Means you're growing, you cannot stand without whatever unless you're not growing inside. You have to grow inside first. You have to increase your knowledge. You have to go for more wisdom in yourself first before you throw out or when people can see you. So that's all.
Is that what the Peter Principle was all about, where they said people would rise in level of responsibility until they're incapable? And
Yeah.
then they screw everything up?
Exactly. So you cannot
Because they
travel.
weren't growing equivalent to their opportunity.
Yeah. So you have to balance it. Good, okay. Talk about this idea. You are exactly where you should be in life given everything you have done to get there. You're exactly where you should be in life given everything you have done to get here.
So what that means to me is there are certain life lessons that you need to learn.
Yes,
And life presents opportunities for you to learn the lesson.
of course.
And if you go through the situation and you didn't learn the lesson, you didn't course correct, it will reoccur. It will keep reoccurring
Yeah.
until you learn the lesson that you needed to learn. So that goes back to that comment, you know, do you have 5 years of experience or do you have 1 year's experience 5 years over?
It's true. So this is like that. And then we have stretching always requires change. When you are stretching yourself, it needs a change. You cannot do the same thing and think that I am stretched out. Because you're doing exactly the same thing which you had. So, and it takes it requires a risk too. When you make a change, there is a risk involved. Whenever you change, like you change your profession, how much risk was involved? For example, whenever, and it's a true fact, and you did that too, and you did that too, and you did, we all changed somehow at some point, our professions. We took a hit initially.
The trade-off.
Yeah, but we took a little hit, so that's the same thing. So you have to take a risk of that, and you have to be prepared for it. Then stretching sets you apart from others. So why it's important? Because, first of all, you become different, because you see the things before somebody else can, because you stretched. You get more competent and you get more confident because you went out of your comfort zone to take care of that as compared to anybody else. So there is always, you see, when you stretch and you go up, you know, the best place, for example, everybody is always scared of competition, correct? It's too much competition. Like as a realtor, you say, oh, Faz, I mean, it's a lot of competitive market, a lot of realtors are out, everybody's in every network group and this and throwing their cards, correct? It happens. But if you want to avoid that, if you don't like that, where you have to be?
Different, be special, be
Change your
unique.
mind. That's how you think, right?
So you go to the next level, more you go towards the top, the competition is getting lesser and lesser and lesser. That's the whole thing is.
But then you have to
No,
beat the
that's the whole
competition.
key. Get out of that crowd. I forgot that book, I'll tell you in the next meeting. I read it. It's one of the best books I read a while ago. How to get out of that crowd without, like you're saying, the whole process of competing. No. For example, let me ask you this way. How many of your colleagues, wherever you work in real estate, are attending mastermind groups?
But they don't have mastermind groups. They
Okay,
have-
okay, it may be. I'm just saying. So obviously, this is quite a different thing which you are doing, nobody else is doing. That's a stretch. Same thing like, so you are learning a lot of different things about your life. Everything is what? Based on your life. Whatever stretch you are going to do is going to change who? You, not me, not him, not him. So if you do all those steps, which they are not doing, you will become unique. And you are getting to the next level, the competition is getting lesser and lesser and lesser.